Well, tonight, over at the Factory, a gigantic point show featuring 3 Days Grace and a band opening the show that in the last few months has really completely caught fire at this radio station. I am very happy to welcome the entire band Wage War into the Point studio. Gentlemen, hello and welcome to St. Louis and the Point.
How's it going?
Thank you.
All right, so I always ask this of almost every, sort of newer band to us that get to come through here. But can you kind of give us like a short abridged version of how the band came to be, how Wage War as it exists now came to pass?
Well, a very long time ago, I met Cody and joined a band that he was in. And the two of us took it, super seriously. The rest of the guys didn't really, so we ended up kind of breaking off and starting our own thing, and we found Britain. And then a couple years later, we acquired Steven and Chris on bass and drums, and that was in 2013, I think, when we had this full lineup. And then we grinded pretty hard for, a few years, ended up getting a record deal, and here we are now.
I kind of always feel like Florida has always had, like, at least from my memory, like a very active, like punk rock and metal scene. I mean, I know that there are a ton of punk bands that have came from Florida. What is there? Is there something that you guys see? Is it just because there happens to be a lot of people there? Is it hot so people are angry? Like you know what I mean? Like what is there any one particular thing that you can say? Because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of pop bands that come from there. It definitely seems like there's a lot of bands that have a lot of attitude that are coming from there.
Yeah, I feel like the rock and metal scene is like super good there. I remember just growing up and like knowing that there was a show going on every weekend somewhere. So. And we kind of fell into it, like becoming a new band. We were like, well, we can play this and play this and play this. We played everywhere in Florida. And I feel like doing that got us a pretty good following, There's like bands like Obituary, Under Oath, like so many bands, come out of our area. And like still to this day, there's shows going on every weekend in every town. So
yeah.
And I think you see bands, at least for us, like a day to remember, Under Oath, like Britton mentioned, that are doing it and came up from your hometown, we're close enough to it. So I feel like, I don't know if there's like something in the water or whatever, in Florida in particular, but I think just seeing people in close proximity to you have success is inspiring. And you're like, well, if they could do it, so can we.
There's no reason that I can't.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So did you guys come from families that were very supportive of the rock and roll dream?
Yeah, definitely. At one point, I think it might have been before you guys were in there, but I remember our parents having like a meeting and being like, so if y'all want to do this for real, like, how can we help you do this? And I think a good amount of us or at least have parents that are musicians or at least music lovers. So we all grew up around it. Some of our parents toured or played or, whatever that might be. So at least to my knowledge, like there's never been a single like iota of resistance between our parents, and they still come out to shows, and, we have videos of practicing in their garage, and we have wonderful families for sure.
I think one of my favorite parts, man, of going to see shows, and when you have the idea that it could be the family there, and you see mom or dad or brother and sister, and it literally looks like if they had buttons on their shirt, they would pop off because they are so proud of getting to watch their kids do what they love on stage, and it is absolutely one of my favorite things to pick out. Well, let's do this. We're going to talk more to the guys from Wage War, but I tell you what, do you want to do the big hit, the established radio single already, or do you want to do the brand new one, Godspeed? You guys decide.
Let's start off with the hit.
All right,
we'll kind of ease into it.
Let's do the hit. All right, we'll get everybody singing along. We'll come back with more from Wage War in town tonight at the Factory with 3 Days Grace. Tickets are available, 105.7 The Point. We've got Wage War live here in the Point studio. They're playing tonight at the Factory with 3 Days Grace. I have always loved heavy melodic music. I don't know who the first band like that I really loved. The Deftones is kind of the one that sort of comes to mind. But was there one in particular for you guys, or is there like maybe even a favorite band of the band for Wage War?
It's hard to say. I think we all grew up in like relatively like heavy music. I think metalcore is probably the overarching theme. So I mean, we grew up on bands like Killswitch Engage, As I Lay Dying, Under Oath,
Bullet for My Valentine.
Bullet for My Valentine. Like, we grew up on bands like that, and I feel like what we've tried to do is, obviously, we love being a heavy band. Like, we love the energy, we love the riffs, we love all that stuff, but we also love melody so much, so we're just like, well, if we can, like, find the perfect marriage of that, where it's just like, this makes sense for people that, like, maybe this is heavier than what people would normally listen to, but it's like, you can feel the energy but have the melody at the same time. Like, that's where I feel like is the sweet spot for what we're doing.
Yeah.
Did it take you a while to get there? You know what I mean? Like,
I'd say to perfect it for sure. I mean, album 4 is the first time I feel like we like really unlocked it. Godspeed and Circle the Drain being like 2 front runners of that, where it's just like, this is what we have always done, but just a little bit more melodic. You know what I mean? It's still aggressive. Like, Britton's got like Britton and I have very different voices, and his like is a lot more commanding and intense, and so it's cool to kind of have that aggression vocal, but also it's like melodic, so people aren't
Sure.
just like, oh well, he's just screaming.
right. Well, and it kind of gives you guys more like tools in the toolbox
Yeah, exactly.
to kind of work with. Has there been a show or a band in which that you've played with that you were like, holy crap, boys, we made it, or I can't believe we're here, or a combination thereof?
Definitely Slipknot.
Yeah.
We can all agree on that.
And I have met Corey Taylor numerous times, and what an amazingly kind man. And I would bet you that on the other side, on the band side, that he would really be caring about the opening bands. Like, I would feel like he would be a guy that would give a crap.
Yeah.
He definitely did. I mean, there was a couple days at some of those arenas that we were working out in the gym that was there, and he would be in there with his security and just be like, let's get it, boys. Like, every single day we walk by. There was one time he walked into the green room, like, right after we had got done playing, and he was basically in full get up with his mask in hand and just checking to see how our show was, kind of getting a read for the room and stuff like that. And we thought that was awesome.
Yeah, he does not have to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
I
and
expected to have zero interaction with anyone, and there was quite a few of them that we at least were like became friends with or had like positive interactions. That was just like, obviously, like, you're Slipknot, you don't need to care about us, but they seemed to make it a point to be like, you know, kind to us and make sure that we were provided for.
I'm telling you, the first time that I saw that band live, the first time that I saw Slipknot, I don't think I blinked for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, I just couldn't, there was just so much going on at the same time. The musicianship is at such a high level. It's just madness. Yeah. And the fact that that guy, as a songwriter, is able to do that, and then to do Corey Taylor solo stuff, like, you know, you shouldn't be able to be that talented. Give me a little bit of that so I could write a song. You know what I mean? Like, it's just unbelievable. We're talking to the guys from Wage War. They're in town tonight playing the Factory. And Tony, Patrico, you've been here, and I'm sorry to completely overtake this.
Dude, I'm here just to hang out, man.
I know, but you love this band, and you saw their last time through when they were at Red Flag, which is a pretty small venue. Can you kind of talk a bit about the crowd at that particular show?
You mean the fact that they lost their minds?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're looking for.
Honestly, and my lady Mary Beth introduced me to Wage War, and I was like, man, this is rad. I can't wait. She's like, they're coming into town. Let's check them out. It's the only time where I was the guy where I was filming the crowd while the band was playing, because I literally looked at her and I went, is this like every show? And she goes, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And from start to finish, I mean, from first note until, hey, we'll see you guys next time, it was completely hyped, man. And it was unbelievable. It was a great show. And I can only imagine, you know, now we're seeing Red Flag, which is a smaller venue. Now we're going to the Factory, which is a little bit bigger venue, a little bit louder venue. So I'm stoked for tonight. And if you don't have tickets, you need to go get them right now.
100%. So, like, guys, I know that you look forward to, hey, we're in St. Louis this time, and we played this size venue, and then we moved up, and then we moved up. I completely understand the desire to want to play to more people, but like, how do you balance that with like still loving like how one of those little small club shows feel, because we all know, as going to those kinds of shows, there is an energy, there is just something there that really cannot be duplicated.
Definitely. I feel like it's a balance. Like, some of the big festival shows and stuff like that can be some of our favorites, and we talk about it all the time, but there is something about those smaller rooms where you just feed off of, and you can feel that energy from everyone in the crowd that you can't really duplicate in like an outdoor setting, anything like that. But I think I speak for everyone when I say, like, I love playing smaller gigs like that, that just feel more intimate with the people that are there for you.
I've also heard a rumor that every member of this band is a gigantic Metallica fan.
Oh yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
What, would you say that is the band's favorite band?
Yeah, I wouldn't be in Wage War if I wouldn't have found Ride the Lightning album in my dad's, cabinet. So
I got to tell you, I came to that, and I am of the age where I should have been in on the first wave of Metallica. I should have been, but I just wasn't.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until probably the last 5 or 6 years that I have truly went into the genius of that band, musicianship and otherwise. And I've seen them a couple times in the last couple years, and I just think, man, that because they've been around so long, it's almost like they're taken for granted or something. Like they're not really appreciated as being forefathers of a movement. You know what I mean? That Black Album really knocked some doors down for a lot of bands, and I still don't think that maybe they get all of the respect that they deserve.
Yeah, agreed.
And I saw this, I got to tell you this real quick. I saw him a couple years ago at ACL, and there was this kid that had front row. And I mean, he's right there, on one of their, offshoots of the stage. And every time someone would walk by him, he would flip them off, both fingers, middle fingers. And then they would turn around and he would keep singing every word to every song. I have never been so confused by someone at a show in my entire life.
I get those a lot, and I'm like, is this guy mad or what? Then I see him bobbing his head, singing the words. I'm like, dude, you're confusing me.
right. What are we doing here?
Just so hyped up. He doesn't know how to act.
Does he think he's supposed to be angry? I'm supposed to be angry.
Yeah.
And maybe that's it, but he looked so happy when he wasn't flipping them off.
Yeah.
And then I was just if I were James or Lars or what, I would be very genuinely confused by that too, man. I had the opportunity to interview Robert Trujillo a couple years ago as well. And you're sitting there and you're like, man, dude, you were in Infectious Grooves and Suicidal Tenants. It's really legendary at this point, those guys. Well, listen, Wage War, open invitation. Point Studio is always open to you whenever you come to St. Louis. We would
so
love for you to be through here as much as possible. And good luck tonight at the factory. There are still a few tickets left for 3 days grace. And again, we just really appreciate you guys stopping by today.
Thank you.
All right, Wage War. This is a brand new single. It is called Godspeed on 105.7 The Point.